Two Dead Fish Named Kevin. Written by L.A. Witt. Narrated by Michael Ferraiuolo. Chapter 1. Garrett.
"How is everyone this beautiful Valentine's Day?"
The zookeeper chirped into her headset. The surprisingly large crowd gathered around the black bear exhibit responded with cheers and applause, not terribly loud, given that this was a zoo, but enough to convey that people were quite happy to be here. It was a crisp but comfortable day, especially for mid-February. All I'd had to wear was a leather jacket over my t-shirt, and since such a nice day had fallen on a Saturday, that probably explained why there was a decent crowd. A couple dozen kids who must have been 6 or 7 were gathered by the zookeeper at the fence in front of the viewing area, while the adults, probably 50 of us if I had to guess, stood behind them. Beyond the fence was a deep moat, and on the other side an elaborate habitat in which 3 black bears kept a close eye on a door off to my right, and about 8 feet off the ground. I suspected that was where the food was going to come from. The zookeeper launched into a speech about how bears would normally be hibernating this time of year, but since they have food available year-round, the ones in zoos often don't. Then there was something about how their diets were closely monitored to keep them from getting too fat. That was apparently an issue with non-hibernating captive bears. There was also a bit about how these 3 couldn't be released back into the wild for various reasons, so there was less concern about them getting used to being fed by humans. Something. I don't know. I wasn't listening too closely. Mostly I was watching the bears and sort of chuckling to myself about why I was even here. I mean, I loved animals. Fucking adored them. Coming to the zoo on a Saturday morning wasn't exactly out of the ordinary for me. But I usually avoided special events because while I loved animals, I wasn't fond of crowds. Today was an exception. As the zookeeper kept talking at length, I empathized with the bears, who were clearly getting impatient. They had to know there was food coming. I was itching for them to get fed too. God, I can't wait to watch them tear that one fish to pieces. I had to bite back a laugh. It was so petty and vindictive and ridiculous, but as soon as I'd seen the ad, I hadn't been able to resist because it just sounded so deliciously satisfying. And the money went to help maintain the bear's habitat, so it was for a good cause. That made it a little less petty, right? Hell, who cared? Finally, the zookeeper was done talking and she announced that it was time to get started. In the habitat, the door the bears had been watching slid open. Another zookeeper poked his head out, and he grinned as the bears gathered below. I kind of envied him right then. How cool would that be, getting paid to toss food to bears? And then he waved at them, and all 3 waved their giant paws back at him, and I nearly died of jealousy. I am seriously in the wrong line of work.
"Okay, Jeremy,"
the zookeeper near us called out.
"Who are our first 3 fish?"
Jeremy hoisted a bucket onto the ledge, and he withdrew the first of 3 good-sized salmon. As he tossed a fish to each bear, he called out,
"Here we have Charlie, Shannon, and, no name, but you know what you did, you cheating jerk."
That last one sent a ripple of laughter through the crowd. Immediately, the bears tore into their fish, and a woman called out,
"Ha! That's what you get, Charlie!"
Everyone chuckled. Then Jeremy put another bucket in the window, immediately grabbing the attention of the bears. One continued chewing, a tail sticking out of his mouth, but he focused intently on Jeremy as he waited for the next snack.
"Okay,"
Jeremy said.
"Now we have that. I can't read all of that with kids here. And there's no actual name, but I'm pretty sure their ex also bought them a cockroach to feed the meerkats, so..."
He dropped the fish as everyone laughed, and while I had no idea what the person's ex had done, it was definitely satisfying to watch the fish get ripped to shreds in their honor. Jeremy then dangled 2 salmon and said,
I don't know if this is a coincidence, a mistake, or if someone was mad enough to buy 2 fish in this guy's honor, but here's Kevin. He tossed a fish. And Kevin. In the same moment I shouted out my glee at watching my ex get eaten in finned effigy, another male voice went up. Suck it, Kevin! Probably not appropriate with kids around, but whatever. Everyone laughed, and I looked around to see if I could pick the guy out of the crowd. Apparently he was doing the same thing because we locked eyes and both shared a grin and a nod. Did you guys both date him? The girl with the headset asked. Or is it 2 different Kevins who deserve to be fed to the bears? Don't know, I said. But knowing my ex, I shrugged. Probably the same guy. $20 says it's the same guy, the other man replied with a laugh. Oh, the zookeeper grinned. Now I'm invested. She gestured for us to move toward each other. You boys compare notes, and we'll check back with you in a minute. I glanced toward the bears munching happily on the fish named Kevin, then shrugged again. Oh hell, why not? People gave us room as we made our way to each other. As we came closer, oh, I almost forgot about the fish, the bears, or that lying, cheating douche canoe. This guy? Holy crap. He was a couple of inches shorter than me, 5'8", 5'9", and probably in his late 20s or so, same as me. Maybe early 30s, with a great skincare routine. His sandy blonde hair towed that line between slightly mussed and perfectly arranged, and those hazel eyes almost had me tripping over nothing. Wow. I'd barely even noticed other men since goddamned Kevin dumped me last summer. Just recently, I'd started to feel the tingle of temptation to start dating again, only to find out a month ago that Kevin had been cheating on me through most of our 2-year relationship. And I'd been pretty much done with humanity ever since. But one look at this guy, and I swore all my dating profiles spontaneously reactivated on their own. Single, available, and with an enthusiastic libido right here. He stopped when we were close enough to hear each other over the crowd, which was currently egging on the bears as they feasted on some more fish, and that shy smile made my heart go wild. How was it legal to be that cute? Hi. He extended his hand. So you had a jackass Kevin too? Right. That was why we'd been crossing the crowd to introduce ourselves. Because of Kevin. Yeah. I laughed dryly as I accepted the handshake. Don't tell me you named it. I nodded toward the bears and the fish carcasses. After Kevin Tollefson? In a flash, his smile vanished, and his jaw fell open. No way. I blinked. Wait, are you serious? Kevin Tollefson? He inclined his head, still grasping my hand. About 6'1", blonde, crew cut, New York Rangers tattoo? Oh my God. I groaned as I released his hand. He has a crew cut now? Really? The laugh that emerged from this beautiful stranger blurred my memories of what's-his-name. At the same time, it sharpened my anger toward the asshole. It was one thing to hurt me. I didn't like it, but I could take it. Who looked at someone like this and thought, yeah, I'ma break his heart? Kevin, that was who. Fucking Kevin. Unaware of my brain spinning out, the guy took out his phone. Oh, you never saw the crew cut? Get a load of this. He showed me the screen, and I snorted. Wow, that's a look. Right? The guy rolled his eyes as he pocketed his phone. Not sure what he was going for, and quite honestly, I don't care anymore. Amen to that. I put my fist up, and he got the most adorable smile as he bumped it. The zookeeper's voice turned my head. So, do we have a verdict? She was almost gleeful in her excitement. Same Kevin or different Kevins? Same Kevin, we said at the same time. That brought raucous laughter out of all the adults in the crowd. The kids were mostly focused on the bears and didn't seem to really follow what the adults were laughing about. Probably just as well. Are you guys serious? A woman near us asked. You both dated the same person and... She gestured toward the fish. Yep, the other guy said. He was a real piece of work. Ugh, to say the least, I muttered. Then he stiffened a bit and turned to me, brow furrowed. Wait,
When exactly did you date him? Oh, huh. Yeah, that was a valid question, especially given everything I'd recently learned about Cheater McSluttypants. I cleared my throat. We broke up in June. What about you guys? The bitter laugh and the eye roll didn't leave much to the imagination. We just broke up a couple of weeks ago, but we started dating in March, I think? Then he turned sheepish, and he actually looked a bit worried. For the record, I had no idea. I waved my hand. Nah, I figured. Turned out he was cheating on someone else when we got together, and he cheated on me the entire time, so you're good. He exhaled, obviously relieved. Okay, I didn't want you to think. It's all good. He's just that good of a liar. My new friend grunted in agreement. Understatement of the year. Right? We both chuckled, and we continued watching the bears. The feeding wrapped up pretty quickly, and the crowd started to disperse. When the kids left, the rail was freed up, so I moved closer and rested my arms on it. To my very pleasant surprise, I wasn't the only one. I swear, he said, leaning on the rail beside me. Bears are nature's biggest form of false advertising. I shot him a puzzled look. Huh? Look at them. He flailed his hand toward the bears. They're fluffy, they have cute faces. Oh, and those ears? He made a disgusted sound and shook his head. How can something with cute little round ears be a killing machine? I burst out laughing loud enough to attract the attention of one of the fuzzy murderers who watched us as he chewed a bite of salmon. Okay. Okay, you make a good point, but I mean, all the big cats are pretty adorable, too. True. Which makes you wonder how we managed to become the dominant species on the planet when we turned to mush at the sight of apex predators. I cocked a brow. You're one of those people who's going to die right after he says, "Here, kitty kitty," aren't you? His horrible attempt at innocence was even more endearing than round ears and fluffy kitties, which said a lot. Yeah. But as long as I get to pet the kitty before it murders me? He shrugged. I laughed, shaking my head, and I started to say something, but caught him staring at me. What? He jumped, clearing his throat, and shifted his attention back to the bears. Oh, nothing. It was just my imagination, though. Maybe. Yeah, I was probably reading too much into it. Story of my life. But what I wasn't reading into was the fact that I didn't want us to go our separate ways once we left the bear exhibit. Heart racing with sudden nerves, I said as casually as I could, Listen, now that they've eaten, I motioned toward the bears, and I cringed at the heat rising in my face as I timidly asked, Do you want to maybe grab lunch? The way his face lit up was absolutely magic. Sure, he said. I didn't catch your name, though. Garrett. Yours? Tristan. We exchanged smiles. Then we left the bear to their fish, including what little remained of the two fish named Kevin, and went looking for the zoo's food pavilion.